Hey everybody, guess what? It's Paul Grossman, the dark arts wizard of AI-driven test automation. I want to welcome everybody to join this stream. We're going to be doing a live stream as long as, I don't know, as my calendar permits. So right now we are started with our lunchtime Monday live automation scripting, and I am going to be going through some of the cool things that I've been doing the last few years, and show you some of the cool things that I've got over here. So I'm gonna, since I've got a couple of eyeballs watching me, I'm gonna add my screen over here and show you what I have. This is testRigor. And by the way, in case you're wondering, what this does is it is plain test automation in plain English. Plain English. There is no coding involved. One person is gone, one person came around. You don't need to learn Java, JavaScript, Python, any of that. You just need to be able to say, click, add to cart, and it will add something to your cart. And while I'm going to take a peek over here and see who's watching me, I've got one person watching from LinkedIn, and I got one person watching from YouTube, and I got one person watching from Twitch. So again, I'm going to put that out there and say, what website do you want me to automate? What website do you want me to automate? We'll do that. And here we go. Question mark. And all you have to do is respond out there. Respond positively. And I will we're doing this live, so you can take a look at this live. And if you respond on there, it's on Twitch, it's on YouTube, whichever channel you happen to be watching me from. If you're doing it live, you can throw out the website. I will live create a account, and I'll go and automate all sorts of interesting things that are out there. So yeah. I've been doing automation, all sorts of different websites and conferences and stuff for many years. And what are we going to take a look at today? Today, we're going to take a look at, what do I want? What website? I want to make sure I'm on the right one over. Yes, I am displaying the right one. We're good over there. So what I want to do is go to my shortcuts, and I'm looking for my shortcuts. There's the RESTful Booker over here. We could do that. We could do that. We can basically go over here. This is over here, the Ministry of Testing RESTful Booker. You can go and check availability. You can check out reservations. You can create new rooms. I love this. Is the blue room from I believe it's Picasso, or is it might be one of the other artists. It's been a while since I've been in art school. Yes, I went to art school to go learn something. So something very important. If you write your resume, please check your words on your resume. If it says animation or automation, be careful. It could change your entire career for the rest of your life. And yes, I could absolutely automate all this stuff over here. So let me see if I've got some other stuff. I got Mercury Tours. I can go all sorts of different places. Let's see. Where should we go today? I thought I had a list over here that said exactly where I have my shortcuts. So let me take a look and see if I can find that. I'm not quite seeing this. I'm wondering if this is actually the right one over here. I'm gonna double check on my systems and make sure I am good. There is a difference over here. Hold on one second. All sorts of different automation tools that I've used before. Sandboxes, the internet. The internet's kind of boring, but it hasn't been updated in a while. But we do have a demo web shop. Maybe we go do that. What do you think? Yes? Agreed? Of course you are. All right. My one little eyeball sitting there watching me. I got a feeling that's just a ghost of me looking back at me. It's kind of suspicious. I don't know, because they never talk to me. All right. Here's our website. We're going to go, and guess what? Look, it's Tricentis's website over there. That's okay. I'm cool with that. I am going to go over here to testRigor, and go open up my thing over there. I'm going to do login, and let's see if we could automate their sample site faster than they could. Who knows? I'm going to say that is the web shop. And we'll go and say 0 over here. I don't need to create any test cases. I just want to do some stuff. By the way, one of the cool things that you've got in testRigor is that you can go over to settings, multiple browsers, and you can work in multiple different things. By the way, there's Chrome for testing. That means that the versions stay exactly what version they're at. So you can go to stable, beta, dev, canary, or you can go back to a certain version. 135 is the current one, and other stable versions all going all the way back to 115. So you can do that. You can say use the fixed version. In that case, we just say I just want version 135, 134, 133, and it doesn't update. So you don't get all sorts of different false positives because the version just happens to change. So that I think is pretty cool. Also, different operating systems, you can do what they call this is vertical testing, when you add more and more and more and more test cases on top of each other to extend your coverage of your requirements. Or you can do horizontal testing where you have all those things and then you're going to add. I want to test it under Windows. I want to test it under Mac OS. I want to test it under Chrome and Safari and make sure that it all works. So it's kind of cool. All right, I said I was going to go and go create some test cases. So I'm going to go over here and we're going to go and take a look. I have no test case over here. So I'm going to go add a test case and we'll say, we'll do the primary checks. We'll do that. Primary checks. We'll do that live. And then I'm going to go and see, well, what are we going to do with that thing? I want to go and search for something. What can I search for? Laptop. I'm going to say laptop and see if we get a laptop. Let's do this and say enter laptop into search. How easy can it be? That is so easy. The laptop into search. Enter laptop into search. And I'm going to go and run, add and run over there. Primary checks. We're doing that. We're going to go open this up. And let's see what we have over here. And what would we, now this is a navigation, it's not a test. It's a test that requires a validation. Look at that, completed in 3 seconds. In fact, it seemed like it was faster to me, but hey, what are you gonna do? And what did I do? I put laptop in there, that's cool. And then I'm gonna, I probably wanna go and enter, hit the word enter. I'm pretty sure it's probably already in there anyway. So do enter. That is just the enter key, return key. And then lastly, we want to check page contains some text, right? What text do we want to verify over here? We want to make sure that we have a 14.1 inch laptop. Let me go see if I can copy that. There's a 14.1 inch laptop. I'm going to go click on that and I'm going to verify the page has that. So I'm going to say click, 14.1 laptop, and then verify the page contains 14.1. I'm going to hit that and update and run. And then while we're doing that, we're going to go and take a look at a different sandbox over here. So what other sandboxes do we have? We have the RESTful Booker. We have Guru 90. Oh, Guru 99 is always a good one over here. This is a Guru Bank. You can do an agile project, a bank project. You can do all sorts of logins, a security project, telecom project, a payment gateway. A payment gateway is always, price, how many of these wonderful things you want to buy? I want to buy nine, and I want to buy them now. And then we need to put in a credit card number and all sorts of stuff like that. So, yeah, and then pay $180. Let's see. We accept, I really don't want to use real credit cards. So we're going to say, by the way, this is what you do if you want to do some testing online without a credit card. You can do, you can say there's testing credit cards, and they all have, it's like $4.99 like that. So I'm going to say testing credit card numbers. We're going to put that over there and see what we get. Actually, I think this is actually searching testing daily for that. Amazingly, nobody's ever written an article on that. How could that be? Well, we should probably go and check that out. I'm going to say we'll test it over here. And this is testing through Yahoo. Here are test credit card accounts. You can actually use these in order to do it. So they will not complete. They will not ship you anything, and probably the most the most that it may be, it might be $5 or $10 that it's good for. There's also one for Visa. Just to double check, I want to see this over here on Visa. Let's say Visa, because I know the Visa credit card is like 411111. This is Amex. Let's see the full list of cards here. Where's our Visa? And all the way at the bottom. And I should see 4111. I don't actually see that guy, but I'm going to go and check because I'm not too sure about it. It's 4111 1111. And I'm going to go search that and see if we come up with a test cards, global payments. Let's try that. It should be listed over here, testing cards. And if I look, I should have 4111. Do I have that? Nothing in there. Interesting. Well, test accounts, codes, and on that. Let's go back over to our test systems and go take a look at what else we got. We got a one login account, one login identity. Oh, this would give us a sandbox login. What else do I have over here for my sandboxes? Mercury Tools. Oh, this has been a day. I bet you this. Anyone who's a little older than I am probably remembers these. There are new tours over here. That's the actual project and payment gateway. Well, we're back at the new at the Guru demo site, and this is a demo page for testing. So let's see if I can go and automate that. I'm going to go over to demoguru.com, demo 99. We'll populate that in there, and I'm going to go here, and yeah, this actually did a primary check. It said, here, let's take a walk through that. We'll just zoom that in. I don't know why I always keep thinking the plus button is at the top. It should be at the bottom. I just think it should be. So it comes over here, and what do? I said enter laptop into that. Enter laptop was in here. That's cool. And then I hit enter, and what do I get? It says check that I see a 14-inch laptop, and I go and click on it. And then I verify that the 14.1-inch laptop is listed on the demo website. That's pretty cool. That's pretty fast. Maybe I want to verify that it's 1590 on that. So if I were to do that, I would just sit there and say check page contains 1590. By the way, you can do that with regular expressions as well. 1590.00. And I think there's a $sign in front of that. We'll give that a run. And then we'll also do a check AI validations. Check AI, check page. And we'll say, quote, contains an image of a computer. Now, we'll make it generic to see what the AI identifies. It should come up with additional information on that. So we'll do check the page contains an image using AI. And we'll update that and let that chug away. While that's doing it, how about this SEO? I'm going to go navigate to that. So I'm going to go create a new test case, and I'm going to say SEO validation over there. We'll do that, and we'll do check page contains. We're going to say click SEO on that. Click SEO. Now I want to hit click SEO on that, and then we'll see where that goes, because this should give us the SEO, and it's got a drop down on. Oh, we got to click page. Maybe I want to click page 6. And there's an ad. Ooh, there's an ad. We need to close that. All right, let's figure out how to do this. All right, so what I want to do in testRigor is I want to create a reusable rule called close ad. We'll do that. And I'll call it close add. Now, one of the cool things is I can just say it's an AI-based rule. But in this case, what I want to do is I'm going to go and add this additional fields over here. I'm going to say auto apply on every step. I want to define how many times I want this. I just want it to appear once. And over here, I'm going to say click. We're going to say click close, like that. And I'll hit save. And now I've got, let's say, precondition label. We have to, as of the type, precondition label scenario should be a type validation. Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll do that. That's fine. And I think if I do the save, I'm going to go do that. Oh, there's a new version. So I'm going to go and reload this and see what we get, because we should have a new rule that will automatically, that's called a hook in most of our automation stuff, in our different tools when we're doing coding. It has a hook out there that will do that. So we'll do that. And let me see, what else is this going to do? If I click on this, well, what happens if I click open? Does that give us a new tab? It takes us over to Gartner, and Gartner has a whole bunch of website, a whole bunch of information. I think that's actually a live Gartner site. So I'm going to go back and note that this is a demo page for testing. So I'm going to go take a look at our database. Let's see, we could do validations, application servers, all sorts of cool stuff that you can do and validate. Look at that, SAP Advantages. I can definitely do that. What else can we do? We could do some behind the scenes validations. We could do database validations, all sorts of interesting things that we can pick up. What other websites can I go to? I've got, let's see, I've got my YouTube channel over there. Let's see. This would be Selenium. Now, there is a ton of things that we could go through. Cookie handling demo. We could add, oh, this has a login with a username. So we could go to a cookie name and then say, my username is Paul and my password is Paul. And I'll go and say login. And it says I've saved this. Okay. Now, if I come over to this again, and I refresh, I'll say confirm form resubmission. Yes. And it says you are already logged in. And here's my cookie data. Cookie name is Selenium and the cookie value is ABC123. That would be a cool thing to go and demo with testRigor. So let's see. All right, here I am. I've got my reusable rules. So I'm going to go and punch that in over there. That is not the rule I want. I wanted to just say close, click close. That's all I really want to do. Click close. All right. So I'm clicking on the close over there. I'm going to go save this. Oh, I need to have a rule. The label and the name can't be, I missed that. So I'm going to say close add. And I'm going to go click, make this a label, same thing, close add. And we will go and save. Cool. We've got the close add in there, but then we're going to make one modification and make this a hook and say auto apply this at every step. I only want it on one step. And oh no, I want it on all steps, so we'll make that 0. We want to define the number of times it can be applied, which is just 1. And what are we doing if we see it? Click, add. Oh, these are my preconditions, actually. So over here, it's click close. Over here, page contains close. And that will detect if there's close. Now, do we want to do a close, or what did we see on this? Let me go back over to this guy over here and see what I had. This is a demo, and I was looking for that page. Let me give this a refresh and see if we get this add to cart, if we get something that pops up. All right, so I'm over here. What I want to do for the precondition is just check the page contains, was it close or submit or go? I'll say exactly close. Exactly close. And see if we get that. Now that means it has to say exactly close. By default, any of the elements that I do, by default, the close is saying over here, hey, Boomer Tester, he's watching. Okay, I happen to glance back at my StreamYard, and he's like, hey, why don't you, how about this one? Unless you don't want to touch government sites. Well, and then he sends me some pictures of, looks like Valerie Bertinelli. 3 pictures of Valerie Bertinelli. By the way, Valerie Bertinelli was my first crush on TV when I was watching it. And she follows me on X, which I think is just the most awesome thing. Valerie Bertinelli, and also, well, actually, my other big crush was the girl from Taxi, Lane Nardo, and she also follows me on X, which is kind of cool. All right, so let me see. You want to try this, huh? You want to get me in this kind of trouble. All right. Man, you would think, well, I'll go do it. What the hell? We'll go. You know what? No, I'm not gonna chance that. No, man, I'm sorry. That's really playing with fire. I don't need that happening in my life. So, Boomer Tester, give me another website, something not in the government. It wasn't a trap. He says, no worries. It wasn't a trap. All right. You find something else, post it over there. I will keep a closer eyeball out for something that is on the messaging over here. So what was I saying? I was going over here and saying, yeah, I want to do a reusable rule, and I believe I've already done one over here. And what am I looking at? Web shop. I'm looking at a different one over here. What was the? I'm gonna go check back over here and see what was the last one. Yeah, it was web shop. Okay, fine. We'll go do that. Just double check my suites. Yeah, it was the web shop. Cool. All right. I have an SEO validation. I'm gonna go take a look at what it was. It says click SEO. Now, what happened over here? Because the screen is smaller, it doesn't show me the SEO. And what's really interesting is I don't even have a drop down showing me that. So let me go back over here and see what we get. This is all these guys over here. And no, I got a feeling I looked at a different one over here. Oh yeah, I navigated over to the Guru 99. That was my bad. All right, so I'm going to go and do this quick edit, make a quick fix over here, and I'm going to go and say, that's what I get for doing things on the fly and not remembering it all. I'm going to go over here to Guru, and we'll test the Selenium cookie. We'll update and refresh, and we'll click on the how about replit? Yeah, absolutely. Let's go do that. He says, let's do this. Okay, hang on. Let's go build one out. I'm going to go to my test cases. I'll build one right in the same project over here. I'm going to go add a test case. And I'll say this is going to be replit.com. All right. I'm going to go and say open URL. Let's go see what replit is, because I don't know what replit is. I trust Boomer Tester. He would never set me up for something suspicious over there. Let's see. Tune your ideas and apps. I think that's it. All right. Let's see what we have. We're going to go into live mode in order to do this as well. First of all, I'm going to open that up and say, hey, I want to go here. Hit copy, we'll add to run, and just see where we go. This SEO validation, while we're there, I just basically said go to this website and then go click SEO. SEO is right there. And I didn't select the page, so I'm going to say page 6, obviously. I never trust page 1. So I am going to go quick edit and say click page -6. And I'll update and retest. Let's go jump back over here. So we went to Replit, no big deal. Took a screen capture. There it is. And now I'm going to take this into live mode. So the way I do that is I click on debug, and this will take me over to a new tab. And I'm in the debug over here, and it is basically going to execute whatever's in my test case automatically instead of me copying it and pushing it over. Let's see. there's a wave. So the wave emotion on Twitch depicts Sullen AK, former recruiting director for Twitch, who streams with the handle, "Hey guys." If it was "Hey you guys," that would have been the electric company. That would say how old I am, because I'm kind of old. I don't know. Boomer Test, you remember the electric company over there? So this is Celine AK. That's who it is. I'm so out of it. I'm such an uncool dude. All right, so I'm going to go execute this. I want to change my maximum wait timeout just to 3 seconds. I want to refresh up to 1. There's a couple other drop downs over. First, we're going to get a little bit more screen time by closing a screen size, more real estate by doing that. And there's 3 things that you can do over here. By default, if I click on something, it's going to execute automatically. If I want to build up a couple of statements, I want to say generate command, but don't execute. And if we want to do old school, which nobody ever does, you can do this, and it'll give you XY coordinates on it. So don't worry about that. I'm going to go generate this this code over here, and I'm going to go. So where do we want to go, Boomer? Let's see. I could, let's turn your ideas into reruns of the original show. I was born in the 80s. Of course you are, because you're a boomer, right? Yeah. I was watching the reruns of the Brady Bunch in the 80s, which is in the 70s. I actually got to meet Bobby Brady in the middle of a Halloween party back around 1995. I was quite drunk, and I said, "Oh, I get it. You're a lawyer. You're dressed up like a lawyer," because he has suit and tie, and he just stood out from everybody. Marsha. I know. All right, so if I do and click on this, turn your ideas into apps, what do we get? Look at this. It says turn your ideas into apps. Now, if I execute this, I'll probably find it. We'll take a look. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go. Oh, yeah, it did it. Totally. It says, yep, totally found it. But who's going to type like that? Let's go do a little check and see if this can find it this way. Let's just take out all those spaces. You gave me a really good website just to start off with that. That's fun. Let's see. Turn your ideas. Now I'm going to think. My guess is it's not going to find it because it doesn't match it. Let's see how close it comes. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. It goes, "Hey man, I can't find anything that has that." So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this into a AI. I don't use AI a lot, and that's, consider that like the most interesting man in the world, which I certainly am not, because I stutter all that much. But I'm going to say using AI. I don't use AI for everything, but when I do, I use it for this. So let's give this an execute. And again, I say I am a pessimist. I really am never positive things are actually going to turn out the way that they're supposed to. AI does take a little bit extra time. That's why I don't put it on every single site. It is the way it's like adding salt to a soup. You want to make sure that the soup has just the right amount of AI in it. Now I see a green over here. Look at this. I see a green over here. That's kind of cool. And there is one thing I've noticed, and is that I don't get an output of what the actual AI is, but I will show you that later. There is a way to kind of see that, and I'll mention that because there's 2 different ways, and I actually have a meeting to talk about that today. So we'll come back and let's see, what do you want to create? I can say check page contains I'm going to go execute that. Doesn't have to do AI. It immediately comes back and says that is there, and we're like, that's cool. This looked like, let's see, make me a website for community members. That sounds like WebSim AI. This is an agentic design, I'm assuming. So where it actually goes and does this stuff for you. It's kind of cool. Start building with AI. So I'm going to go click on that, and it says start clicking a bit on this, and this is the AI getting a little fancy. It says W6 fill color. That is the AI. There's always a better way of doing that. Now it says on the left of, or to the left of, I think that means, I think this fill current color, it might be that arrow over there. So I'm going to try and execute it without it. And it says start building with an AI. And I did see it over here. I can verify that. It's over here. I'm going to go down And there it is, started building with AI. Really didn't need any extra stuff in there. It's just the AI getting a little bit extra wordy on that. So I ended up on this, and it says create an account. So let's see, what can I create an account? What can I do over here? There's an agent over here. Let's see, make a website for me. Great, please sign in. All right, well, I wonder if I can sign in with an email. We could go with GitHub. Let me see, sign in with GitHub. Let's see, click GitHub. We'll do that. See what we get out of that. Cool, sign in with GitHub. And we ended up on the GitHub page. This is as far as I'm going to go because I don't need to be revealing my GitHub username and password. I do have one out there, but I could go and say create an account, execute that, and then it'll take me to a page over here. And then here's the cool thing, Boomer Tester. I don't know if you saw this yesterday. I'm going to fill out this account by just saying fill out form. Would that blow your mind if that's all I needed to do this? So I'm clicking on fill out form. It gives me an email, gives me a password. It'll probably generate a username. And it says the password may be compromised. Password is a list of passwords commonly used on other websites. Let me see what password did it come up with. Unique email. I think it came out with a generic password. Let's see, your country, hyphens, password. Yes, it came out with a very generic password. So yeah, that's fine. I can go and validate that. So I'm going to go do this and say verify that this is on here. And yep, this is yep. And I can go verify that it's at least 15 characters. That's complaining about that. Let's go click on the United States. Let's go click America and see what is in that drop-down list. Click America. We'll do that. Click on that, and we'll look. I get all of these over here. I think let's go take a look. And since I am at over here, how about Canada? Canada isn't even listed over here. So I'm going to say click Canada and see what we get just to start off with. Because normally what I would do is I'd say enter Canada into that list. Now, look at that. Went, yep, Canada's over there. So I got a little response. REPL is a REPL. Characterized dev environments with an integrated IDE service with AI services. That is awesome. I was going to ask you, Boomer Tester, do you, hey, you want to come online? Do you want me to see? Because I need to test how to do all this stuff. Would you like to join me on my system? I'm actually going to go put on my headset so I can hear that. So let me know. Is preferred. Let's see what's over there. He's saying it's my preferred way to experiment on something I want to get running fast. I'm with you, brother. I'll do that. The one way I do it, and I don't know if you saw this, but it was websim.ai is the way I'm doing that. And like I said, there is an open invitation to join me live on the session here. I can go invite somebody. I'm going to send you an invite. Let me see how I can do it. Invite guest. I will go copy this and let's see. How do I get this to you? Guests can stream their own destination, see instructions for it. Send this link to your guests. You might also need how to share this. So Boomer Tester, I am going to go. I'm going to go look over on, you're on YouTube. Let's see, you are on X. So I'm going to go over to X on my private screen. And I am going to send you this message so that you can join me. There is Boomer Tester over here. Obviously, I'm not sharing on the screen, but I'm doing a message over here. Let me see if I can There's a message over here. So I have Boomer Tester. I have sent you a StreamYard invite so you can see what is going on. I got to go back over to my StreamYard and see what's going on over there. I've sent it to you on X. So take a look on your X communications over there, and I will see if you pop up, which would be kind of cool. This screen over here is pretty big. We got that. Replit. I gotta go play around with that. Start building with an AI. And what did I say? I said go and log in, and then I clicked on sign up. And do let me know if you're able to hit that link if you see it, Boomer Tester over there. And I am saying sign up. So there's my sign up. I just got a ding. I have a ding. I will add to stage. There's Marcus. Hey Marcus, how you doing?
Yeah. Hey, hold on. Let me mute you over here. Not
okay.
There's a lot of trust you're putting in me, Paul.
Yeah, man. Of course.
Wait, I can't hear you on this end though. How do I fix that? Let me see.
All
right. See. Okay, I see what it's doing wrong. It's my fault. It's user error. Here we go.
Pevcac error probably exists between keyboard and chair.
Yeah, between brain and chair, or brain and keyboard.
Brain and keyboard. Yep.
Okay, yeah, I can hear you, and I am assuming you can hear me.
I certainly can. You're right in the middle of my head.
Yeah, you're
living rent free, my friend.
You're putting a lot of trust in me. I could have gone completely crazy and joined this and just said all kinds of things.
There's a completely different group that I hang out with that go by the name Completely Crazy, and we can talk about that on some other time.
Sure.
All right, so I got you over here. Thank you for being my first guest.
Sure.
On my live chat. You've been checking in, checking out almost everyone, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
so where do you want to go? What do you want to see us try and do, since I've got the live mode open here?
Sure. I mean, you kind of did a sign up. I was curious because I know a lot of times with like the what would you call that, where you can sign in with different services. I always find these really interesting to test. So that's why I was, but I know the challenge there is that you need some way to feed something like this, proper auth. Like you have to give it something to work with, right? You can't just say, well, authenticate with GitHub, and I have to give you a GitHub account, right? So,
go ahead.
I was trying to remember, does Replit have its own pure sign up, or do you always have to integrate? I can't remember. I think I integrated with my GitHub, so I didn't. But I don't know if they have like a pure sign in where it's just like an account with them.
Let me go back. Let's go see if there was just like an email validation. Oh yeah, email and password, so you can do it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good. I would think that's a good place to start. And then I am curious too about like SSO. If testRigor, how it handles like SSO with either email or with apps, because I know that's always also kind of, you could turn that off. But if you're like trying to test in prod, I mean, there's times you can't turn that off, kind of like CAPTCHA. So I was always kind of curious to see how tools kind of handle that stuff.
As far as CAPTCHA goes, yeah.
I say I just mentioned you actually on stream because I was talking about skill issues because I was watching a video with I don't want to advertise ourselves. I was watching a video with Joe Calantonio and Jason Arbon.
Yeah,
about some of Jason's stuff.
Yep.
And Jason kept kind of referring to skill issues with generative AI, and I actually kind of agree with him. And I think I'm just as guilty. Like I feel like I was just as guilty with testRigor. I didn't read enough of the documentation ahead of time, and so to me, like my initial reaction, I don't think it was fair. And so I brought that. I was like, yeah, because I experienced skill issues because I didn't. I feel like it's easy to poke holes into something and criticize it if you don't spend any time understanding how it works. I feel like there's a lot of testers right now doing that with generative AI. They're kind of like, oh, well, it generated me bad results. Like, well, what was your query? If you give it a bad query, you're giving it bad information, just like a person. If I don't give you enough context about what I'm trying to ask you to do, like I'm asking you to try sign up, if I was just really vague about it, I'm probably going to get an answer about as at the same quality level as what my request was, right? Like it's unrealistic to make a bad request and be like, well, I expect genius from you then, right? Like, but generative AI can surprise us sometimes. Sometimes you get genius out of a bad prompt. So yeah, I brought you up today because I was like, and that one's going to get edited down into a YouTube video probably, but because I did feel bad and I wanted to, in my tour of these type of products, I want to do a fresh one of Rigor, and then I'm going to do a fresh one of some of the other stuff that's out there, and just to come in, do a little research first instead of going in blind.
Yep. Well, I'll tell you on April 28th, Joe Colantonio reached out.
I know it's a hard one to say.
I've known him for like 12 years. I still can't get out of my. All right, Joe's gonna. Oh man, he's gonna hate me for that one. Colantonio. Hey, we're gonna automate some stuff here. Yeah. If you don't, Joe Bots are gonna come get you. There goes my glasses. Hold on. Yeah, Joe Bot's gonna come get you. He's gonna break your test. That's what he's gonna do. Break your test. All right.
It'd be a real shame if something happened to those tests.
Actually,
we're gonna offend a whole group of Italian people that might watch.
We got the wrong accent for Joe. It's a thick Boston accent.
Yeah, exactly. It's not even. I mean, the names it makes me. Yeah, it's that Boston accent. Even though he's closer to my neck of the woods, I think it's public knowledge. He's a little closer to where I am.
But. Well, I was born in Boston, so I was born at the Beth Israel Hospital. So and I've been back there 2 or 3 times. The distinct thing I remember was Faneuil Hall, walking through that mall, outdoor mall out there, and I thought it was great. And I got a poster which I put on my bedroom door until I was like 21 and moved out. It's pretty cool. All right. Anyway, to answer your question, yeah, you can do SMS messages, so you can do that. You can pick up codes. All of that is done. I will go over to. I'm gonna go create a new. I'm gonna go grab a different session over here. Oh wait, I can go over here and I will go to settings. I'll go open up this and a new tab that will take me over to settings. And essentially, what happens is that you can go to integrations, and this is the phone providers. You can go through Twilio or Telnix. Personally, I like Telnix because it's just a little easier. To do. I do have a Telnix phone number. If you want to call it, it is it's a wizard. Unless there's a wizard. I'm trying to remember. I think it was I don't want to say the wrong 2 digits, and I'll have people calling somebody out in the real world. But let me see. I'm gonna go see if I have it. I just recently got it, so I don't have it entirely memorized. WIZARD, because I don't mind giving that one out because it's not nobody's going to be answering it
right
out there. Wizard, find all in all. Let's see. I got, well, of course, Dark Arts Wizards all over the place, and I'm sitting here boring people because I am just looking up all this stuff. Let me go get Telnix. Let me go do a search on that, and I'll get the real TLNYX and see if I've got that over somewhere. Here we are. Where's my phone number? We've got lots of interesting things up there, but let's see. I think this is it over here. A second.
Do you use vaults at all? Because that seems like something good to put in.
Yes.
In a vault. Okay.
Yeah, you can interact with a vault. You can pull information from a vault and have a public key, private key, and then it tells you, yeah, you're good. So I will give you the URL. That's great for just totally skipping login, username, and password. It just jumps you right in.
Sure.
You can do that. Any API calls you can do. The messaging, and if there's an email being sent back, you can pick up the code over here. In fact, I do have a demo of that. Maybe tomorrow I always like to kind of prep whatever I'm doing, even though it looks like I have no idea what I'm doing at the moment. I'm not prepping. But yeah, you can. Oh, and by the way, this API key would be masked over there, so if you put that in there, nobody gets it. But yeah, I will go dig that up. My new phone number, I do know it's a Telnix number. It ends with A, and it's like ends with a wizard. You just type that onto your phone. Nobody does that anymore. Anyway, so that kind of answers that question over there. I'm going to go back over here. You said we wanted to see. We are actually have the live mode over here, and I clicked on something over here, and this is one of the things is that the AI. 80% of the time it gets something like, password, username, something descriptive. And then the other 20% of the time it goes, I'm gonna come up with something really, really weird out there. And my problem is I forgot what I clicked. So because we were chit-chatting quite a bit. I was gonna say I can select different things from here. I wanted to go create your free account. So I'm gonna go, I want to take a look at that list. The one thing is I can't see the drop-down list live there. It's almost live mode. That is not what I want. I want to go over to this. And I want, this is saying live. Let's see. I want to go and do a password. I think that's what I said. So I'm going to create a password, but it's giving me something different. Why do I have that? How did I do that? How did I get this? Oh, this is going to GitHub. Well, okay, that's my bad. All right, so I will go over to GitHub. Let's see. And I think I will go, I think I'll sign out. Maybe I'll do this from a hidden account. We'll do a new incognito. We'll do that. And
I was actually going to ask how testRigor did with like incognito windows and stuff.
You can tell
I was
it.
curious about
By
it.
default, it always starts out with an incognito blank. It's like the first time you're hitting it. So it actually doesn't get fooled by my major trick in my website, which is that it pops up a dialogue, but only once because it writes the cookies out there. And then the second time you hit it, you don't see it. So I was thinking when I first wrote the Candy Mapper website, I said, this will be great. It'll pop up this modal dialog box and you'll never see it again. And everybody's automation tool just logs in like it's the first time with the clear cookies. I'm like, okay, that did not go the way I had planned. I don't want to sign up. I want to sign up. And here is my list. So I've got all this stuff over here. So let's go make this a big challenge. Let's say I'm going to go with, I think, Trinidad and Tobago, mostly because that is the home of my co-author on my book, Larry Goddard. So he comes from Trini. He's got the Trini, and then I won't do the accent. That's rude. So if I do this and I go over here, I'm going to say select, how about TRINI? And I'm going to at least spell part of it correctly. Trinidad from, I'm guessing that is a country. So I'm going to say country is probably the list over there. I need to get the quotes over there, see what it does. Again, I'm a pessimist. I never think I'm going to be able to get it the first time right. It looks like it opened it up. Just basically open it up. So I'm going to have to go and type it. All right, fair enough. I think it's just a collect. And then after this,
it's almost a SQL query.
Darn close. Yep. Enter. Let's just do enter or type. We'll just go type Trinidad because it already has the focus up here. So I can do a type. So I'll do TYPE. And we'll do type Trinidad and hit enter. And I'll do that and enter key. And I'm going to go execute all that. That should put Trinidad in there. And I got Trinidad and Tobago. Boom, boom, boom. Easy peasy. Now, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this session and confirm it. And then I'm going to come back. And my last thing that I was doing in there was that I was typing Trinidad and I was trying to click in there. It didn't like to enter. So I'm going to put in enter, but I'm going to go create a reusable rule over here. So it was, I think we were doing, I think we're just doing click country. So let's do that. I'm going to create a generic one over here. And I will go and save this, validate and save. And then I'm going to go over to a reusable rule and create a custom version of that. That's one of the things about coding is that not everything works right the first time. Isn't that? It's like sometimes you got to solve stuff because someone's done a weird, it looks like a drop down it looks like a combo box, but actually someone's given me a list and an input field on top of it to kind of fake out a combo box. You ever had anything like that?
Oh, lots of times.
Ah,
So those custom keywords, are those kind of like under the hood? Is that like a cucumber keyword, or
there's no cucumber. It is
Okay.
created whatever way you want. It's under the hood. It's a proprietary way that
Okay,
they're
okay.
doing it. 9 years they've been trying to write the code to make it work as easy as possible. Now, in this case, I'm going to say I was actually trying to do a select. So I'm going to call it RR to say it's a reusable rule, because we do have these drop downs over here. And if I say A, B, there it is. I'll get these drop downs, but if I just call it select, it will kind of merge in here. I like to keep my reusable rules all used together. So I'm going to say enter. I'm going to say item, or is it enter? Select. It's select. Select item. Item is becoming a variable at this point, so it'll be called Tobago on that. From, oh, hello. I didn't want to hit that button. Close, please. That was this button over here. Somehow I tapped it. From list. So now this is a variable, another variable. And over here, what I'm doing is I'm saying click stored value, whatever I put in there, value. Instead of country, take that out. Say country was the test text. And this is going to take stored value of list. The text stuff we do is actually in reverse. And then I'm going to type stored value and item. X item from the list. And say Trinidad was the sample text. And I believe I'm going to go enter. We'll do that. Enter. Cool. And we could actually do a validation to see if it's on there, but just to start, I'm going to say save. Oh, I need to give it a label. So I'm just going to give it the same label over here. All right, I save this. Now I'm going to go back to my test. And I did stop the live mode, because anything I create that's new, live mode gets created. It's after you stop live mode that you see the new stuff. So it's disabled because we're just messing around. When you're in live mode, it's like, I'm just experimenting. It's not a real test. I'm not a real boy. Okay, and let's see, what was I doing? I was doing how to fill out form, checking if this stuff exists. And the last thing was I wanted to select Canada and America, countries, and I did Trinidad. So I'm going to go and say, cut this out. And I'm going to say RR, which gives me a list the item. So what am I picking from the list? Trinidad. We'll do that. Notice it is not case sensitive, and it was also a substring match. And this is from the country, I believe, is what I did, because I clicked country, I clicked Trinidad, but now this is all combined into one item over there. And enter is already been included, so that should go away. So that stuff is all being handled over here. I think I've got everything. So hit update and retest. See how this goes. And you'll also see over here it says how much time it took. It was 23 minutes. That was just me yammering while you and I were chit-chatting how long I had the live mode open. It will take far less. Again, I'm a pessimist. I expect something will fail in there. There'll be something that I missed. So we're going over to replay. Yes, go ahead.
To derail us. What was what was the AI context for in that custom command? Is that like for you to do visual diffing, like to give the AI like something to reference, like a screenshot? Like what is the purpose of that, or what's like the feature there with the context?
Let me go find using AI. So essentially, when I did the page context, it validated this with all the text in it, which is a straight up textual element. It's like it's looking for a div out there. But when I attempted to do it this way, it said, "Hey, I didn't see anything without these that matches this stuff without these goofy spaces that are in there." So turn your. So this guy totally failed. That's why I did it. And I also see that the font was an interesting computer font. So instead of doing this, I switched it over to an AI validation and said, "Hey, see if you can turn your ideas into apps on the screen using AI." And more than likely, I could do it also this way. And I could say using OCR. And I'm actually not sure which one's fast. I think the OCR would have been faster. So behind the scenes, when I hit the click on it, the AI said, "This is what I found for the element that you're looking for behind the scenes." And when I did this, it said, I don't know what you're talking about because this is what I was looking. This is what's actually on the screen." And then I used the AI to say, "Okay, I don't care what the spacing is. I want to look at this." And it came back and said, "Yeah, I totally see it." Oh, that reminds me. So I was going to say, I'm going to go validate and save this. Couldn't identify the action. Oh, because I can't use AI. That's right. This is my formatting that's wrong. I have to put the contains outside of it. So that should give me a validate and save. We are happy. All right. Cool. The point I was going to make there was I wanted to take a look at that AI because there's something that is super cool on this. Check pages contains turn your ideas into apps. I'm going to click on this and show extra info. And this comes back and says, make sure it says contains Apple is true because looking at the screenshot of the Replit website, I can clearly see a main heading that displays turn your ideas into apps at the top of the page. It appears as a prominent headline of the website above the subheading. What will you create today? The possibilities are endless. However, the HTML source also confirms this with an H1 element containing the text, and there's all your straight up spacing. And it basically said, okay, I ran out of room to put additional information here.
Sure. No,
kind of cool.
Yeah, that's helpful in the sense that it's almost doing it's looking at the DOM, but it's also doing like a visual diff, which is a lot. Usually, if you're going to do that through actual hard-coded test automation, you're going to have to now get into visual diffing.
Yep.
And you're going to have a reference screenshot first of the page. The way you already need to know, you basically already need to know what the page is supposed to look like. Where I'm guessing, I'm not trying to figure out testRigor, but I have a feeling there's something. Well, it could just be it could not simple, but it could be like a query where you kind of like you could take ChatGPT and say, give it a screenshot of a web page and say, find this text on it for me, and it can generally do that. So I have a feeling there's possibly something there, and then it's just my job's not to figure out how testRigor works, but it's just the nature of my brain. Like I start to think of like, okay, so if I was writing testRigor, how would I get this to work based on how I currently use generative AI and use prompts and things like that. Oh, my son's here. Hold on.
Hello, you want to see a magic trick? I got a dragon for you. One dragon coming up. I was spending too much time at the Renaissance Fair. Having a ton of fun with these hand dragons over here.
He knew it was a dragon. He didn't even hear you, but he's.
Yeah, it took me so long. Now my fingers are all bent. It's like, hey, that's something I can't. I at some point I have to give up because the arthritis will come in eventually. But
eventually,
yeah. So, and my son's like, "Hey, you got dragons? Well, you need to have a knight." So he got me this for my birthday. So
oh, nice. Great. I've got my knickknacks. I've got my knickknacks around here. I actually consolidated or liquidated quite a few of them. Well, I had a Pop Funko problem. Like I collected. So I sold them. I sold all of them, and I I was surprised at how much they were worth, to be honest.
Cool.
But
Well,
it's
if you
just
know
one of
any,
those things.
cool.
Just take it. Sorry, what were you saying? I cut you off.
Oh, I was going to say, you got one of these?
No, I don't have a test guild rope. I don't have like any.
Well,
I've attended 3 or 4 automation guild conferences, and I haven't gotten anything. I don't even think I have a shirt.
let's see. Oh, it is so hot in here. Oh no. Let's see.
With Joe's face.
You go.
The cruel and
Go
sadistic
ask Joe.
things you could do with that.
go.
Really...
go ask Joe when you talk to him. You say, hey,
I need to beg for some swag.
I don't think you have to beg. I think you just have to ask nicely.
I suppose.
I do have the oldest things I've got. This is the Mercury tester Captain Mercury action figure. This boys get action figures and girls get dolls. So as an action grip of some sort. And so that got that back in the day. I don't know if that's worth anything, but
it might be. You'd be surprised what things are worth now. I've been shocked at things that I got rid of as a child. That's like I shouldn't have done that. That could have been my child's college fund.
Yeah. I won't get into it, but there was a guitar from 1967 that went for $100 out of my house and caused a lot of family rift. It's like it wasn't $100; it was a freaking Starburst Gibson, and it was never used. Anyway, let's not get into that. It's in the past, man. I gotta let it go. All right. So one thing I wanted to point out is that when I was doing this in live mode, it takes a little longer. It's 53 seconds to go through and get this AI and get the extra AI stuff over here. But when I did it over here, it actually combined 3 of these steps. It did it in 26 seconds. And this one is probably a quarter second to do a validation if I hadn't combined it. This is another one AI. And then this was, I think let's see, check if the page contains this create. It's another one. I think it was OCR and then click start building with AI. All of it combined into 26 seconds. So that's kind of cool. I was going to say, when I do show extra info, I should be able to download. There's a screen sources. I was going to say there's a view. Oh, I can't see it from this view. This is actually me as a customer view rather than an internal view, but there's an internal view that shows some extra stuff. Anyway, what was my point? One, I have a green. It worked, whatever I tried. And this one's also cool over here. You see, I got a yellow one over here, right? It's not failing, but it's saying there's something wrong over here. I'm going to click on the errors over here. And it says I was trying to find this country region, but it didn't fail on that. And the extra info, that says it was generated. So usually what this means is that usually I get like there's an error 404 on the page, but it wasn't a link that we clicked on. So you can go and throw it over to a developer and say, hey, there's a dead link over here. Is that something you want to take care of? Make sure it's not causing any problems. What else we got? Trying to remember what we did to fill out the form, and it filled out all the form, and I did all the validations, and I wanted to see if I could pull this. Did I? I did not. It actually went. It did. All right. Trinidad from country, and it was supposed to click country first. Country, United States. I don't think it did what I wanted it to do, which bums me out. Let me go take a look at that reusable rule because that is. Yeah,
if it didn't throw an error, is that kind of like that situation where you find yourself in an automation framework where it's certain, it thinks that it did it? Like if you don't have an assertion, is that, because that's common in almost anything else, right? Where if it, like let's say those elements were just obscured, but it was still able to interact with them or something, and it still thought it did the thing, or maybe it was a race condition. I'm curious, like when testRigor has like where it fails after you ask it to do something, is it usually pretty explicit? Or because like maybe in this case it was like a race condition, like for a moment the element was there, and maybe when it reloaded that drop down it put America in it because it's like the default or something. I'm kind of curious how it handles those sorts of situations. And again, that's not picking on, that's like any
That's
use
fine.
any, you know what I mean? Those
Yeah.
race conditions are always going to kind of get you just due to the asynchronous nature of web apps now.
Yeah. There's not a lot of asynchronous problems in there because when I'm trying to do something coded, I just worked on a project where I was doing Playwright, and I was like, oh, great, I get to work in C sharp because last time I touched it, I didn't need a sync and a wait like I do in Java, in JavaScript. And darn it, they added it to it. It's like, um, and the biggest problem I had when I was doing like WebDriver IO was, oh man, I have to put a sync and a wait in order to make sure that these things execute in order. Because if I leave them off, they'll just do it in any order, because that's the most efficient way the internet works. Bring in all your sources to build your page all at one time. But trying to execute your test cases and your steps in any order is not a good idea. So you have to tell it, oh, please wait. All that. All right, I'm going off
Right.
the.
You're forcing an asynchronous framework to be synchronous because that's how testing works. But unfortunately, the apps don't always work that way, right? Like,
Yeah.
Gosh, who was it? It was Automation Guild. He did a really good. Oh, I'm gonna kick myself. I can't remember his name. He did a fantastic session though this year about why. So basically, like your tests, you can change frameworks, but you're gonna bring the flake with you because it's about a lot of it's about your mind frame as you go to test, and then the asynchronous nature of web apps. Like it was a
Yep.
really I'm kicking myself. I can see his face. Um, it's it's somewhat on topic.
It's not
But
Pandy, is it?
no, it wasn't Andy's. Andy's session was the first session. That was on. This wasn't about Playwright. This was about the fact that just if you change, people will or teams will change frameworks thinking because they'll grab a tool and they'll be like, oh, it's after we use it for all, it's become flaky, and then so they'll switch tools and like, oh, it's not flaky anymore, and then it becomes flaky again. It's like, well, the flaky was probably more due to your perspective going in, and also when you start a new tool, you learned everything from the previous tool, and you may make less of those mistakes, but then you'll still fall into certain
Patterns.
pitfalls because
Yep.
because your perspective and your approach to testing hasn't changed. Like something about how we approach testing at times causes our tests to be flaky, and we could change frameworks all day, but it really
Yep.
like our core, like our craft needs to be better. We're falling into anti-patterns. And I'm kicking myself that I can't remember his name. It was such a great session, and maybe we shouldn't spoil sessions for the guild this year. I don't know. It was a really good year. Like I was kicking myself like I should join these more often. I should, I got a job to pay for it this time around, but it was just this year's was just, the sessions were really good. And I'm not just saying that because I've chatted with Joe, but those were some really good sessions. It's going to bother me. And I think I've got them. Hold on. Let me, hopefully not. Yep. Okay. It was David Burns. I knew
David
I'd
Burns.
remember it. Yep,
Okay.
David Burns had a really good talk this year, and I don't know if he'll ever make it public or anything, but it's like test framework isn't the reason your tests are flaky. It was a really great challenge to, um, again, it's easy to look at anything and be like, well, this is going to solve my problems, and then just you just got new problems because again, your perspective and your craft hasn't improved. But kind of going back to again when so in that case where we were trying to put Trinidad into that drop down,
Yep.
it looked like testRigor thought it did it. So like in that case, was it again? That's why I wasn't sure if it was a race condition. That's why I asked about it. In this case, like
it said it found an element that matched and
right.
performed the steps correctly. So I'm rerunning this right now.
Okay.
And it should be retesting. Let me see. Is it
Like I said, if I'm writing like Cypress, Playwright, Selenium WebDriver, I have the same thing happen. It's like a race condition where that thing, will like interstitially, like the test will go and touch that thing and do stuff with it and do what I told it to do, and then it will finish loading, and then dump the defaulted. The test is like, yeah, I did what you said, but then clearly you could see on the page now it's changed because that thing wasn't done loading. Like there was asynchronous stuff happening. Again, that's why it made me think of David's session too. Was like that thing now will finish what it's doing, even though the framework was allowed to interact with it. The page wasn't ready. Right. And that's why I wasn't sure. That's why I wasn't sure if like testRigor was too fast and all the stuff going on didn't finish. And so it did it and it thought it did it. And then just it showed us, something else. Anyways.
I know what you're talking about there. One of the things I do is, when I was working in Selenium, I remember a course I took, and I think it was Andy who did this, where he said there's a implicit weight, explicit weight, fluent weight, and a hard-coded weight. And if you combine the three, because you're like, oh, okay, this waited for a certain amount of seconds, but let me try a different version and see if that waits more or less, and then let's add the third version. You do the wrong combination, and it will sit there and wait the entire timeout before it moves on. I'll just say, 30 seconds. Like, that's not what I wanted. What I have done is I have wrapped my own AI, wrapped my own page synchronization, where I count how many elements are on the page. And then I have try to limit to my one and only hard-coded wait, which is to wait 250 milliseconds. And then count the page again and wait again and then count the page again. So within 3/4 of a second, you can sit there and say, I had 27 objects, I had 27 objects, I had 27 objects, I'm on my way, I'm out. Pretty good chance. If it goes from 27 to 29, it starts all over. 29, 30, starts over, 30, 30, 30. Okay, 3/4 of a second, I'm out. And 99% of the time, the page is built and you continue on. And then the second thing I do is I'll embed that into a click wrapper, and it'll do it before it performs a click and after it does a click. So actually between two clicks, it'll check the page twice to see, one, if the page is building or stop building, and two, if there is a spinner that's sitting up there. You get that and it's all done. Let me see. We were trying to get a country over here and see. I wonder if I missed the country.
Paul, I gotta run to a meeting.
Absolutely. It was great having you. Thank you so much for joining me. I got to run to a meeting too. So all right. I'll chat with you later. Take care. Cheers.
Yeah. It was nice chatting to you. I don't know how to stop this.
Like that. I'm going to stop it like that. Oh, man. All right. So I want to take a look at this and see. So we're looking for COU country. I want to make sure that I'm clicking on our country over here or region. And I think I'm going to go to live mode, and then I got to go because we've been doing this for quite a while. It was a nice chatting with him on that. And I am going to go to our reusable rules and this over here, stored value, click list. Country was the test. Click stored value list because the list has been provided. Did I do the reverse? Click the item. I reversed it. Did I do that? Click select item. Item came from list. The list came from here. Okay, stored value item. And I'm going to type the stored value. No, I'm entering the item, the list, the value. So click element, country, and I will save that, and then I will go to up here to my test, and I'm going to go take a look at my test over here and see what I can do to quickly populate this out. I'm selecting Trinidad from country, and it is, the item from this. See, I click on country. I'm going to validate and save, and I'm going to go back to my original run and see how I did this. We're going to go to edit test case. See, I am missing something. This is a problem with the user over here. So here is our item over here. And I said type Trinidad, and this was saying I'm going to go and click. Oh, I'm clicking America. So if I go here, I want to click on this, and I clicked America. United States was the default, which means country and region is not actually in there. So let's go take a look at this. I have this over here. I'm going to go over to this. And I think I was looking at, I was looking at my sign up over here. There's my guy. And I'm going to go inspect. So go see what I've got, something that I can actually identify that as uniquely. I'm going to do this and see what I get inside that element. Here's one of the cool things is you can do is use this guy over here, and I'm going to go and take a look. And I'm going to go, that's a copy. I want to go and do this and tell me, what is this object? That's Trinidad. I want this object. And what is it going to tell me? I want this whole object here. And just kind of finish it off. I want span up here. This is a button alignment. I really want to make this bigger. Let's see. This is a span. We are expanding that. Grid, span, button, span, eggs and span. That is country select. That's my issue. All right, we're going to go back over here. We're going to do a quick edit. And we are going to go to this guy here and say country, COUNTRY, country dash select. I can also embed that in there. Let me give that another shot. So let's see if that works. And if that works, I'm going to call it a day because it's been about an hour and 20 minutes, and I probably am missing some other meeting. So go on here, go to Replit, make a REPL, continue on, GitHub, create an account, fill out the form, automatically does that for me. It's kind of cool. And it actually chose the first one over there. Oh, because it filled out the form. Let's go see what it does. See if we look at that. There we go. All right, took me a second. Well, we got it. We got it. Let me take a look at it one more time. So it says type the stored value item, and the item was select Trinidad from country select. So what it did is it clicked on country select and selected it basically, and it's actually listed up here, and then we go and get it. So that is cool. All right, so even if the interface is a little different, it went and we went from United States, we selected this, and now I can do that with any particular country, and I have a custom version of my select Trinidad from country select. Now I could put this in here, maybe dash select, who knows, and then pick up from there. But I like this. I could go and see if this element exists with initially the word country, and then go and select. And what is the object that it actually is? I think we're good on that. I think we are good on that. That is actually a button. It's a button. Okay. Cool. I'm going to go change this to a button and see if I can make that work. We'll do a reusable rule. We are going to go to this. We're going to say click button, UTTON, stored value with the name of list where it says country. And I'm going to go do a save. We'll do one more experiment because that's all I do all day long is just test to see if cool things work. I'm going to go to the quick edit, and I'm going to say, can we find it with just country if I say it's a button? And update and retest. Let's see if it can hit it just with the word country, not just country select. There's country select. Give it a shot. Experiment. Everything has a moment, but it is good. Let's say quit when you're ahead, right? Let's see. We're going to finish this. GitHub. Create an account. Let's make this big so everybody can see it. Over here, fill out the form. And see if we can find it. All right. So I cancel that. I think I'm going to go back to the way it was. How do I do that? If I go to edit test case and I say my version control, I'm going to go down to my runs. I like this one. Compare to current version. Roll back to this. Yes, roll back. And we are going to save and retest one more time, and then we are going to call that for a day. Call it for a day. See if we get that pass. And if not, I'm going to go back to our version control on our reusable rule. And we will wrap it up. Looks exciting. I like it. Selecting all the stuff. Selecting GitHub over here. Like that. Clicking on create account over here. This is filling out a form with all sorts of extra bits of information. And over here, doing a select, it's basically selecting the first item out of this. I could also say select just 1, 2 out of that. And it said fill out the form. The AI actually did it better and smarter than I did. Okay. And then I'm going to go back over to my reusable rule. Take a look at this guy. Go to my version history. And I'm going to compare it to my current version. And I'm going to roll back to that. Say yes. Back to my test case. And I'll give it one more run. Retest. I like that version control, that it can actually bring back everything. And you don't have to do all sorts of interesting things like bring up a PowerShell prompt to go and try and figure out what it is that you're doing. Learn how to do that. It's just, hey, I just want to do revert and have a nice day. So we're going to do that. We'll give it a run. And we'll have our final execution over here. And we will be done. There's our adding in a unique email, by the way. That is unique email. It goes to testRigor.mail, so you can pick up SMS codes and login codes and stuff like that. So here I am, and it goes and selects Trinidad and Tobago, and we are good to go, all green. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. It's about an hour and a half. I'll be putting up the exciting parts in there. My very big thank yous to my special guest, Boomer Tester. And it's been a great day. I appreciate him giving me a URL to go to. And if you want to do this, I'll be doing this live most lunches and evenings. I'm going to try and get 2, maybe 3 live sessions every day for like the next 10 days. It's like 10 days of live streaming. And with that said, thank you very much, everybody. Have yourself a great day. Cheers.